So here we are. Here's our next little guy. This particular easel card is a slightly different one. This one is actually what we call a double easel. And let me show you how this, oops, got a piece of paper on my finger there. It opens up, I'll show it sideways first, like a double mountain, double Z, depending on how you want to look at it. But what it actually is one really long piece, and I will show you how all this goes together. But it's not hard. It's a really simple one, but it looks really impressive. So, you know, when you have it closed, it fits in a normal envelope, but then this piece comes forward, and then this piece actually opens up, so you can write your greeting in here. You could put a white piece inside here if you wanted to write on that, or just write on this colour is pool party. I'm going to give you the directions on how to decorate the card like this. First of all, how to make the card base, and then how to decorate it. But of course, you could do any decorating, any design you wanted to. I do have a video I did years ago. I'll find it for you, which was the double easel frog card that I did some years ago. Same kind of design. But anyway, let's start with this one. This time I'm using the Sweet Gingerbread bundle, and also the paper here is from the Storybook Gnomes paper. I'm looking forward to making this with you. All right, so let's start. We have, first of all, our base. Now, the base I have made with Pool Party. Like I said, you could do any colour that suits you. I have done the full length of a piece of A4 cardstock, and the width is 10.5, which is exactly half the width, okay? We're going to fold this over. I hadn't scored this because I actually find this type of card easier to just fold at the halfway mark. Grab your bone folder and make sure we fold that flat, okay? And then we also have a piece here. Now this is with basic white thick. You could use the thinner one if you wanted to. At least you've got the base made out of cardstock here, which is fine. But if you look, I have measured this to be 5 centimeters, sorry, half a centimeter or 5 millimeters shorter than the full length. So this one is 29.7, which is the length of a piece of A4. This one is 29.2, okay? The width is half a centimeter smaller. So this is 10 centimeters. This one was 10.5. This one is 10. If you are doing this in inches, and all of the measurements, inches and centimeters, will be in the PDF that accompanies this document. However, you'll be working, this one here will be 1/4 of an inch smaller. Both the width and the length will be 1/4 of an inch smaller than this one. Okay, so it's actually really easy to work out. And we're going to fold this the same way. We're going to fold it in half, exactly half. I'm going to use my bone folder to fold that over. Okay, so that should make some sense. And then this one here, I'm going to fold that back on itself. Okay, once again, half of this front piece like this. Okay, so then you've got a piece that goes like this. So you've got one long panel, and then this one here is folded in half. So how this is going to work, this is going to go inside, because remember we said it was half a centimeter smaller, so that means you get a little border there, and then this piece here goes down to the score line, okay, and it's going to get glued here, and then this piece here is going to be separate. All right, so you can see when this is, let's put it up so you can see. If you've got this one like a tent, okay, this one is then going to go on the front of the tent, okay, and then this little piece forms like a second tent. I hope that's clear how I'm doing that. All right, so we know it's going to go here, so we're going to actually pop that there. I showed you putting it up here before. It wouldn't have mattered because you just turn it around the other way, but this is the one that you want to add it to. So let's grab our glue. You can use Tombow, you can use tape, if you like the tear and tape, or you could use seal, whichever is your favorite adhesive. That's the one you're going to use. All right, so this one is going to go right here onto this piece. So it goes all the way down to the base here, right? Right, so this is the basic shape, right? It's as simple as that, okay? Really easy to do. Right, then we've also got this little piece. This is 1/2 centimetre smaller again. So this one is 9.5, and then 1/2 centimetre again. So this one fits just inside of this. So the measurement for this centimetres is, it's 14 long, and this way it's 9.5 wide. Okay, and that is going to go here onto this larger piece like this. All right. So I'm going to pop that right there in the center. It's got a bit of a white border all the way around, just like that, and that forms the back. Okay, so we've got this piece completely done. All right, that's all you have to do to that, and all we need to do now is to decorate the front. So it's actually super easy. This is a piece of white velvet paper that we have in our current mini catalogue. Let me show it to you just so you know where to find it if you go looking for it. If you go looking to the exit, you've got the snowy white velvet sheets. They're here on page 83, and if you want a closer look at them, it shows you on page 37, just here. But actually, I think it's basically flocked velvet sheets. There's 2 sheets in a pack. We've had these before and they're back. Only $8.75 for a pack of 2 12 by 12 sheets. So they're actually good value. And you usually don't use a lot of them at a time, okay? The nice thing, you can, if you don't have this, you can get just a nice look with, looks like snow once again, and just cut a piece of basic white paper and pop that on instead. The only difference is how it feels, okay? This stuff feels amazing. So if you like the idea of having velvet sheets for your snowy hills here, you might want to use that. But if you don't have that, then basic white is just fine, okay? So this little piece is going to go all the way down, okay? I have already cut, let me show you the dies. I have cut the edge, so I made this so it's the same width as the white paper, so it's 10 centimetres across, and then it was 9 this way. But really, if you aren't sure about the measuring, you just need it to be longer so that the hill comes up above this folded piece here, okay? Just needs to go above that. So I've got this, and as you can see, it just goes above my piece there. So I measure that to be 9 centimetres. You may find, depending on yours, you may want it a little taller, you may want it a little shorter, totally up to you. So I'm actually going to put some glue right here on this smaller piece. We always put our glue on the smaller piece. And we're going to attach this velvet piece. We're lining it up with the bottom. And I'm just going to make contact, hold it in place for a few seconds so that that glue can make good contact with that. All right, now if there's a little bit sticking out like that, it's actually not going to matter. See, they've got tiny bits sticking out, because we are actually going to be using, where is my piece of fence? Oh, there it is. All right, so you can have the fence on the outside of the hills, or I chose to have mine on the inside of the hills. Now, if you are doing this, you can have it so it just pokes out there at the top. And the cool thing about this, if I just move that along, is that our little house is going to appear behind this. Okay, so it's actually really easy to do this. Just deciding where I want this to go. All right, so I'm happy with that. I decided, I mean, it's completely up to you. You might decide you just want to put it in front of the house. I found it easy enough to just pop it here behind so that it pokes out a little bit behind my snowy hills. So I just noticed I'm missing a few little bobbly bits from the top here. That's a shame. I might have cut those off accidentally, I think, when I was running it through the machine. So I'm going to use, I think glue dots are the easiest way to stick these. You could also use Tombow, but I think glue dots are the easiest. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take my glue dots off with the point of my, I knew I had a lonely one here, with the point of my, I'm actually going to put them on the back of this snow. Okay, let's see how we go. And just a couple of these is going to be enough to hold the fence. It's not, it doesn't require a lot of strong adhesive. I'm going to pop that. I'm going to just push that down a little bit there in the corner. I did mess this up when I was cutting it. I cut it a second time and I've messed it up a little bit, but that's okay. It's actually not going to make a huge difference to this card. You'll do a better job of cutting yours when you do it. There we go. Now, it's looking pretty good. All right, so we're ready to add our other bits and pieces. I've got a piece of basic white paper here, and I've already got my various elements like the house and the other bits and pieces on blocks. And I made my house, I decided to go with Bermuda Bay for my house because it goes really nicely with the pool party background. So let's grab that. And what's important here is we want to have a mat underneath this because it's a big solid stamp that is made from photopolymer, and you're going to get a better image if you, let me just make sure that's inked up properly. Got a mark here, just going to take that off. And stamp. It's actually better than the original stamp on the card over there. That's the Bermuda Bay. Now we're going to fill in the various elements. We've got a door and 2 windows that are also part of this stamp set. Can you see there's 2 windows here and a door? And the 2 windows are joined together, so they're already perfectly lined up for you. I'm going to use crushed curry for my windows, or you could use Daffodil Delight. You can really pick any yellow you like. There we've got our 2 windows. And the door we did in red. There used to be an Elizabeth Arden fragrance called Red Door. Does anyone remember that? I think it's still around. I haven't worn it in many years, but I remember it from when I was younger. All right, so now we have a red door with a cute little heart on it. Isn't that gorgeous? All right. So now that we've got our house to this stage, we're going to cut it out with the dies. And the dies, we looked at the, I don't know that we did. This is the one that cut the snowy hill. Okay, that's really lovely. And then I put my, my piece, you can see here, I popped that straight into the, which way did I do it? Like that. Put it straight into the cut and emboss machine and cut that edge. Okay. And then I've got the house. It's going to cut out my little house. You could cut it out by hand. It's not a difficult stamp to cut out by hand. There are also little pine trees, and I have already cut those out. There are 3 on my card. You can have as many as you like, but I've cut those out of shaded spruce cardstock. And also there is a roof. Now you can stamp your roof, but I actually chose to cut mine from real red cardstock. So I've got my little roof ready to go on, and that's this die here. Such a cute stamp set and die set as well. It's super, super cute. All right, now on my original card, I also stamped the wreath from this stamp set and then cut it out with the little wreath die. Okay, on this card, I've decided to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to use some real red glimmer paper. We have some fantastic real red and white glimmer paper at the moment, and I'm going to cut that out of there, and I'm going to put a heart on the front of my house. I thought that might be nice with glimmer paper, so that's what I'm going to choose for this one. Okay, let's run all this through the machine, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've got my little pieces here, you can see, and my house has been beautifully cut out with that little house die. But like I said, you could cut the house out quite easily with by hand. That wouldn't be hard to do at all. Right, so let's put this together. So we've got our house and we're going to put a roof on our house. I think that's important. You could stick that straight on, or you could use mini dimensionals to pop the roof on the house. Either way is fine, but just for the ease of it today, I'm going to just stick my house straight on. My roof straight on. Goodness me. All right, let's see. Okay, so that just goes like that. If you have puff paint, you could put a little bit of puff paint on your roof and make it have some snow on it. That would be cute. Now I'm going to pop a little dimensional behind this guy and take the back off that. And we're going to pop that right there. It's cute, isn't it, in the little heart with the glimmer paper? All right, so this now, you can see that this is behind the smaller of the two hills. So that's going to go right about here, okay? And how do we stick that on? Because we've used dimensionals here, we can actually use a little bit of Tombow across the top, but the glue dots are also going to help because they're sticking through the holes of the fence. So they're also going to help us in sticking this on. Just like this. How cute. And then we've also got our little tree. Right, now you can, once again, use glue dots if you want. I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow. And I'm just putting them right on those right-hand pine leaves. And I'm going to pop that right there behind the house. Because I'd like it just kind of popping out as if it's sitting behind the house there. Once again, you'll need to hold that in place until it sticks. Or you could use glue dots if you want immediate stick. All right. Now I've got a glue dot on the trunk of this tree. So I'm putting it on the front of the tree, just right down the bottom. And I'm going to stick that right here. And then another tree. Here's our last tree. This one's going to go in front of that one. So this one I'm going to put my glue dot on the back of the tree. And I'm going to slide that in so it just fits in there, kind of almost going a little bit over the window. There we go, just like that. Right, so we're almost finished with this bit. On my original card, I did also make a couple of lollipops. They're also from the stamp set. You could add those if you want to, and I felt like it needed something. So let's stamp ourselves a couple of lollipops. Now, because I could use, these are photopolymer stamps and they don't work as well with the markers as red rubber do. Red rubber takes the markering quite well, the Stampin' Write markers. But with these ones, I prefer to actually ink up with an ink pad. And because they're clear, you can see where you're going. So I'm going to ink up the top so it's pink. And then I'm going to ink up the bottom so it's a brown stick. So here we go. Just go up as far as the circle, just like that. And we'll do the same again. I'll do the brown stick. And that's one of the advantages if you want to use ink pads. It's much easier to do it with the photopolymer stamps because you can see exactly where you're going. If you want to use markers, you're better off with red rubber stamps. So I'm just going to pop this here. There we go. Aren't they cute? Right, and of course, we have a die for that. In fact, this set has two, which means two little lollipops can be cut at the same time. So I've got one for each. And there's 2 trees as well, so same thing, you can cut double the number of trees. So let's run these through the machine. Okay, here are they. And there's our little dies. We'll pop those back into the die package. Okay, so these guys can go on, and I put mine kind of here in front of this other little hill, and I want them here because I kind of felt like it fills out the picture. So easiest way is to pop those on with dimensionals. So I popped, you can use a full-size dimensional or a small size one, doesn't really matter. And we're going to just pop them. So this one's going to go just kind of here, and the other one kind of in front of that. And this part is almost done. What we're going to do next though is do our greeting and finish off our card. There we go. Isn't that cute? All right, so I have here on this one here, I did From Our Home to Yours, which is one of the greetings in the stamp set. We have a sweet Christmas, sending love, or From Our Home to Yours. They're all really lovely. And they all fit really nicely in the postage punch stamp. Okay, so the postage stamp is really, the postage punch is really, really handy for this. And I did this on some Pool Party cardstock, and I did it with my shaded spruce ink pad. So I'm going to just ink that up. And you want to go down towards the bottom there. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to be coming in at this from the side so that I can have the right shape. And we'll just punch that out. Now, before I put this on, I also have some Pool Party, so keeping with the Pool Party theme, I'm adding some Pool Party sheer ribbon to the front of this. And I'm going to just tie a little bow all the way around. You can do a knot if you're not a fan of tying bows. A knot would also look fine. But let's just kind of, and we want our knot to be kind of just to the right of the center. And I find, I don't know why this is, but I find I tie better bows when I tie them upside down. You might want to experiment with that. Maybe you'll find that too, but that's just my personal experience. The way I tie them, they work better when I tie them upside down. All right, so now I'm just going to fiddle around with that bow a little bit, and you can see that it needs a little bit of tweaking, but that's okay. All bows need tweaking. Don't let anyone tell you that bows are easy and they work right the first time. They don't. Everyone has to tweak their bows. All right, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors and just cut that end off for a second. I'm going to, I can trim those again if I want to. All right, now, like I said, it's just to the right of center, and that's because we want this little guy here to be kind of up against that bow so that the bow kind of pokes out from next to here. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on this. I'll put a couple in the middle. If you want to have more, you can. We don't want this to come loose. So I'm taking my dimensionals off, and I'm going to be putting my dimensionals right here on top of the ribbon, and that's going to hold that ribbon in place. So the ribbon's not going to go anywhere. And there we go. All right, so it's done. And our beautiful little easel card now sits up, and you can write on the inside, and we have a double easel card. So you can decorate yours with anything you like. You don't have to use these colors or these pieces. You really can use anything, but I thought this was a really lovely Christmas card. Of course, double easel works well for cards all year round. So you can use any stamp set and any embellishments and other pieces with this style of card to create a beautiful card. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be back with another one for you very shortly.